What's up, everyone? Welcome back to C&D Sports. Today we have our MLB playoff preview as the wildcard games start up Tuesday night with the AL wildcard, NL wildcard Wednesday, and then end of the week we get into our divisional series here after what was an exciting
crazy finish, almost a four-way tie.
In
the AL.
The NL West came to the last day between the Dodgers and the Giants, which was really overshadowed by that almost four-way tie for the AL wildcard.
When you compare who's going to lead the league between two dominant teams versus, a four-way race,
of course,
I don't think there's any competition.
Yeah, it was.
It was a great finish all around for any viewer. I mean, this is some of the best baseball we've seen in years. Some of the most competitive.
To have so many teams having meaningful game 162s was exciting to watch. So I'm sure that excitement will carry over into the postseason. So should we just get right into it here?
Right into our brackets, and as we go, we'll give notes and kind of a preview into how we project these teams to play.
Yeah.
So let's kick it off with both of our wildcard picks. I have the Yankees over Boston.
I also have the Yankees over Boston as well.
What's going to be fun is both of these teams were racing into it. Boston coming off of a high and New York not really coming off of a low as they've lost some games to Tampa, but they're both in that mode already, playoff mode, wildcard mode.
Yeah.
So I think it's going to be a great game. Can go either way, but I think for now the Yankees are the safe pick.
I think the Yankees just have that edge too because I think their offenses are fairly even. I'd probably give the edge offensively to Boston right now. Just because the Yankees' offense is being carried by Stanton and Judge at the moment. But in terms of starting pitching,
should be better.
It should be better. It's not right now.
Yeah.
But in terms of starting pitching, I give the edge to Garrett Cole in a one game, despite the fact his numbers have altered after the foreign substance thing happened.
It's still Garrett
Cole. He's still a Cy Young contender. I give him the edge. It's looking like Nate Eovaldi on the other side, considering they used 3 of their starters in that last game 162 to beat them, to beat Washington. And then if the bullpen right now, I think the Yankees just have the edge with Aroldis Chapman, Chad Green, Jonathan Loaizaga, Pedro Severino, Clay Holmes. They've got really a power 5 back there, and I'm not even including guys like Peralta, like Joely Rodriguez. So
the Yankees are built for the playoffs.
They are. They've got that efficient bullpen that, if you look at any World Series winner, you have to have, along with good starting, and they have capable offense. There are some guys that aren't performing the way that we expected them to, like LeMahieu, like Gleyber Torres, but I think in terms of a playoff situation, a one-game playoff, despite the fact it's at Fenway Park, I will take the Yankees, Garrett Cole and the Yankees in that one.
Yep. Now the NL wild card, same thing. It should be the Dodgers over St. Louis, but it can go either way.
On paper it should be, but St. Louis is also coming off that miraculous 17-game winning streak.
One of the best teams in baseball going in, and that's where it can go either way.
Yeah.
The Dodgers haven't disappointed. They just haven't been as dominant as you would expect them to be. And St. Louis, like you said, is coming in the stronger team.
I'm more confident in my Yankees pick over Boston than I am in my Dodgers pick over St. Louis. But at the end of the day, I'll take the poise of Max Scherzer. He's been there. He's won a World Series before. And it's looking like he's going to be the starter for that one game. It's probably going to be Adam Wainwright, I think. Obviously, they still have some depth with guys like Jay Happ and John Lester. Probably going to be Wainwright. But again, any team can win a baseball game on any given day. I think the Dodgers, even though it looks very distant on paper with the Dodgers being a 106-win team this year.
St. Louis has closed the gap coming down the stretch.
Exactly. So I'm going to take the Dodgers, but that's going to be an exciting game.
Yep, probably the best between the two wildcard games. Now let's move on to the divisional series in the AL.
Yep.
I think Tampa is going to make work of the Yankees. I don't think they stand much of a shot. On paper, they should in New York, but they just, again, haven't been as dominant as you would expect.
I think the Yankees can pick up a game against them, but Tampa Bay, it's just that strength and numbers thing with them. They can use absolutely everyone. They're so analytically based that, on defense, they're not going to show you one defense twice, the amount they shift. And then on offense too, they just have guys that it doesn't look great on paper necessarily. Their numbers don't look all that fantastic, but they have guys that'll just pick away, and really that entire, whether they carry, a 14-man, 15-man bench, they're going to, every one of those guys can come in and find a hit where they need to get on base. And they've got some scary pieces like Nelson Cruz and Austin Meadows are always scary power pieces there. Brandon Lau can provide some pop as well. So there's really, and you look at their 9-hole hitter too, which on most days it's Brett Phillips. Even he has he's shown that he has some power there. They just have pesky hitters, and they probably have that hunger with them, losing in the World Series last year, coming down to that Game 7. So, yeah, I think they definitely have a fire in them to get back there. So, yeah, definitely Tampa Bay and a smooth route over the Yankees.
Yeah, now Chicago over Houston, I think that's an easy pick because on paper I don't think Houston comes close.
No, as Houston had a good year this year. I didn't expect them to play this well. I thought it'd be a little closer between them and Oakland, actually. It turns out it was closer between them and Seattle. But I like the White Sox pitching. To have Lucas Giolito, Dylan Cease, Carlos Rodon, and of course the Cy Young candidate, the likely Cy Young candidate in Lance Lynn. Those are 4 guys that are it's going to be hard for Houston to find hits. And their offense, you can't sleep on a possible MVP candidate this year, and reigning at AL MVP in Jose Abreu, Luis Robert, Tim Anderson, Eloy Jimenez. The list goes on. They're just, and their bullpen too. Trading for Craig Kimbrell, having Liam Hendricks back there, Michael Kopech, Garrett Crochet has some nasty pitches. This is a team that I think is going to. I can't say surprise. Obviously, they had a great season, but I think they've got some surprises in store, and I think that they can handle Houston.
They're set for a deep playoff run.
They are.
Without question.
Yeah.
Now let's move on to the NL here, and this one was tough. We both have San Francisco over the Dodgers.
Yeah.
And it shouldn't be that way, but San Francisco's just got it going. They have the analytics. They have good management, a cohesive unit. And I think they're coming in with too much momentum to be stopped.
Exactly. And it's the same thing, strength in numbers. We talked about the Rays having the same thing. San Francisco has an equally good bullpen, an equally good bench. The depth is great. The starting lineup is great. Obviously, the pitching rotation with that power 3 of Logan Webb, Anthony DeSclafani, and Kevin Gausman, that'll cause some problems as well. And San Francisco also has guys that have won World Series with them in Buster Posey, Brandon Crawford, Brandon Belt, all of which we outlined in our San Francisco video. If you want, make sure to go check that out as well. We kind of break down their success this year. And I think that success is just going to carry over. A great series, obviously, when you get the 2 best teams in baseball. I just think, other than Max Scherzer, their pitchers, I mean, Walker Buehler and Julio Urias are having a good year.
They don't scare you as much as...
They don't scare you as much as Scherzer. And I think despite how good Buehler and Urias are, I think it'll just come down to the fact that the offense is just equally as good. And San Francisco has one of the top offenses in the league for a reason. And I think their pitchers are up for the task of dealing with an efficient Dodgers lineups being led by Max Muncy and Trey Turner. So we'll see. That'll be a great series. Honestly, it could go either way, but I think the edge has to go to San Francisco at this point.
For now, they're the hotter team coming in, but talent-wise, it's kind of a saw-off when you just consider all the variables. Then Atlanta over Milwaukee, again, another easy pick.
This one wasn't easy for me, actually. I think Atlanta's offense is coming into this series a little more efficient than Milwaukee's. Obviously, pitching-wise, you give the edge to Milwaukee when you have Corbin Burns, Brandon Woodruff, when you have Peralta at the top of that rotation. Obviously, pitching-wise, it's going to be tough, but I think Atlanta's offense, seeing them more consistently in a best-of-5 series, I think they can pull off a kind of going the distance series win here. I really like the power and the offensive efficiency from that infield with Freddie Freeman, Ozzie Albies, Dansby Swanson, Austin Riley. They've got a very efficient outfield as well. The bullpen looks good. The rotation looks good right now. Obviously, this was a team that kind of stumbled early on, and they weren't necessarily top of the division all year like Milwaukee has kind of been for a while. I also think that Milwaukee, the loss to the bullpen with Devin Williams, I think that's going to be bigger than people realize right now. I think they had a very efficient back two in Josh Hader and Devin Williams. And when you lose that and someone else needs to come in that even higher leverage situation against a good hitting Atlanta team, I think it's going to be tough. So Milwaukee, before the Devin Williams injury early on, I kind of thought this could be a team that could make it and even possibly win a World Series. I think they're going to be in tough against Atlanta because they're clicking all at the right time right now.
Yep. So moving on to the championship series, let's start off in the AL.
Yeah.
And this is where we start to defer. You have Chicago over Tampa Bay, and I have Tampa Bay over Chicago.
Yeah.
So I'll go first. For me, it's the experience. And although I think Chicago's probably the better team on paper, I think it's the analytics and the way management uses Tampa Bay. It's resulted in them being the better pitching team. Hitting, it's almost a match. In some areas, Chicago's better. But when it comes to getting runs in, Tampa Bay's the better team. So I think they know how to win games, and that's what's going to get them through. Why do you have Chicago?
I have Chicago because I really think that it's going to be a problem for a lot of teams to find hits off of their starters. I think they have starters that can go 6-7 innings and really defer to that back end of the bullpen. All their starters need to do, their starters could even go 5 innings with how good this bullpen is in the back right now. So I think in terms of a team that Tampa Bay, don't get me wrong, you're certainly right with the experience. This is a team that's hungry to get what they thought they deserved last year in a tough World Series loss. But I think they are going to struggle to find runs against some very good Chicago pitching. And it really comes down to, I give the edge to pitching. And I also don't think Tampa Bay really has a Jose Abreu type player, someone that can really anchor that lineup. They have a lot of guys that make for a good lineup, like I've said before, Austin Meadows, Nelson Cruz, Brandon Lau. But
they don't have an MVP by any means, which is a fair point.
They don't have an MVP, and they don't have really future MVPs. Despite Wander Franco, I think Wander Franco is the one exception, but they can counter that with Luis Robert, good young hitter, and Eloy Jimenez, and of course Tim Anderson. So I think Chicago all around, I think, is probably the most built to go on a World Series run here in the American League, and that's why I have them going to the World Series here.
Okay, and then we both ended up with San Francisco over Atlanta here.
Yeah.
And I think it's just the dominance is going to continue. How are you going to stop it?
There's not much to explain here. I think in every category they're better. Starting pitching, offense, bullpen. There's not a whole lot to break down here. San Francisco's just going to be dominant, despite the fact, Atlanta made a great run to win their division and get here. It certainly won't be... The games will be competitive, but I just think San Francisco just has the efficiency to kind of easily move past them.
Yep. Now, the World Series, you have Chicago over San Francisco.
I do, and I'm really hoping this is the World Series because these are probably two of my favorite teams to watch.
I think it'd be the most fun option.
It would be, because I think you have just ridiculous rotations, two ridiculous rotations going up against each other. I like the power 4 that Chicago puts out compared to the power 3 that San Francisco's putting out. The bullpens are pretty even right now. I think Chicago has some more established names than San Francisco, and that might come into play in a World Series here. San Francisco definitely has the depth, but I think strength of a starting lineup, I'd give the edge to Chicago. This will be a pretty even series. I see this series going the distance in 7 games. And maybe it comes down to the fact that, this is an odd year, and San Francisco's been known for winning even years in 10, 12, and 14.
Yeah.
So That's not why I chose Chicago over them, but Chicago, I think, is just a little bit more dominant heading into I think in a 7-game series will be a little bit more dominant on paper.
Yeah.
Obviously, San Francisco's the best team in baseball, so it's never an easy choice to pick against them, but
Yep.
I'm going to go with Tony La Russa and the Sox here.
Now, before I get into mine, I just want to highlight teams that I think will get here
Yeah.
or that are options. So you obviously have San Francisco
Yeah.
and the Dodgers. That's kind of it in the NL but in the
Yeah.
AL, I think it's between Tampa, Chicago, and maybe even if the Yankees can get on a run. And if they potentially knock out Tampa.
I don't think you can count out Houston either, considering that they're looking to make their fourth ALCS in their past 5 seasons.
Yeah.
Obviously, having that controversial win, that controversial loss in the World Series.
Back.
But they have bounced back.
And you can't overlook that.
They made it last year, the improbable run, even though there were more playoff teams, and they were the 7th team in the playoffs in the American League, and they made that improbable run and gave Tampa Bay a great series there, so you can never count out Houston.
Yep.
Same thing with the National League too. It would be a little more shocking to see Atlanta, or I think Milwaukee's still capable of making it there, but I'm not buying into the strength of their lineup right now. Obviously, their pitching can get there because Corbin Burns and Brandon Woodruff are ridiculous.
Yep. Overall, these teams are there for a reason. With that, I have San Francisco over Tampa Bay. I think the dominance is just going to continue to the end. When you talk about analytics, we called San Francisco the rich man's version of Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
They're doing what Tampa Bay's doing, and can argue they're doing it better, and they're doing it with players we know.
Yeah.
And I think it's the veteran experience. Now Tampa has more recent experience coming off that finals loss.
Yeah.
But it's just pitching, hitting, team play, and the way the team is used. I don't think Tampa Bay can quite touch when it comes from an all-round standpoint. And I don't think anybody's going to be able to stop San Francisco. So that's why I have them winning in 6.
It's a good pick. It's a solid pick. And with that, that's going to do it for our MLB Postseason Preview. Thanks for watching, guys. If you like the video, give it a like down below. Subscribe so you don't miss any of our other uploads. Comment down below who you have winning the World Series, what you think of our brackets. Again, let us know your thoughts in the comments section below. And with that, we will see you in the next video. Peace.